Chevalier d'Eon was born a rather androgynous baby to a poor noble family in Burgundy as Charles Geneviève Louis Auguste André Timothée d'Eon de Beaumont. They excelled in school, eventually finding work as a political writer and, in 1758, as a royal censor. 2 years earlier, in 1756, they joined a secret network of spies for King Louis XV, the aptly named Secret du Roi. They were known only to the king and enacted policies contrary to those officially accepted by the government. According to the stories, d'Eon was sent with one Chevalier Douglas to Russia to convince Empress Elizabeth to support the pro-French faction against the Habsburgs. Douglas became ambassador to Russia, while d'Eon traveled under a sob story about British embargoes as Mademoiselle Léa de Beaumont, maid of honor to Elizabeth, and eventually became secretary to the embassy of St. Petersburg, also employed as a dragoon. In 1760, they returned to France and made thousands of livres, as well as receiving the Royal and Military Order of St. Louis, officially becoming Chevalier d'Eon. D'Eon would then travel as ambassador to England, working various jobs for the local thieves' guild and sending folks wine to make connections. Among their British accomplishments was planning for an ultimately doomed invasion of Great Britain and drafting the treaty that ended the 7 Years' War. Eventually, a new ambassador from another faction showed up and caused a scene. d'Eon accused the new guy of trying to drug them and was promptly recalled to France in 1763, resulting in them publishing a bunch of secret documents, keeping a few as insurance against further French actions. The new ambassador, the Comte de Guiche, proceeded to sue d'Eon for libel. They offered no defense and were promptly declared an outlaw. The Brits liked d'Eon, however, and Guiche received jeers and rocks through his own window. d'Eon hung out, writing a book on government, as rumors began to circulate that they were born a woman. As a result, a betting pool was set up in the London Stock Exchange. d'Eon was invited to get involved, but politely declined, claiming it would be dishonoring. In 1774, due to the death of Louis XV, the Secret du Roi was abolished, and d'Eon negotiated their return to France. They then proceeded to demand recognition as a woman, claiming they had been raised as a boy by their father because he wanted to inherit from his in-laws. Louis XVI was like, sure, alright, but you need to wear a dress. So in 1777, d'Eon returned to France and was promptly banished to the town of his birth. This would be pretty cozy, but the American Revolution was on, and they weren't allowed to help because of the whole banishment thing. The French Revolution went even worse for d'Eon, and although they were offered to lead an all-woman regiment against the Habsburgs, they ended up dying poor in London in 1810. Interestingly, the coroner described d'Eon as having many feminine characteristics, citing unusual roundness in the formation of limbs and remarkably full breasts, while also claiming they had male organs in every respect perfectly formed. This does suggest that d'Eon may have been intersex. Further, following their deaths, Aeonism was coined for transgender behavior, then fell out of use, and d'Eon was depicted all over, including in